Welcome to the Maricopa County Air Quality Department Annual Emissions Inventory Report training. This is the fifth of 6 training videos that provides an introduction to the evaporative process and off-site recycling forms. The evaporative process form is used for all emissions produced by evaporation. Examples include solvents, painting, printing, resin, fuel evaporation from storage tanks, ammonia use, etc. All other processes are reported on a general process form. A single evaporative process form can be used to report emissions from several materials, with each material being given a separate process ID number as long as all of the information at the top of the form apply to all of the reported materials on the form. Use a separate form for each group of materials that have a different process type or description, tier code, or operating schedule. The gray boxes next to the data fields are the location where you would mark an X if you are requesting that a particular data element be held confidential. Enter the process type and description. Input the process tier code. This is an EPA code that gives a general description of the process. The tier codes can be found at the internet links at the bottom of this YouTube video webpage. Seasonal throughput percentage represents the percentage of time in each season that the process operates. The total for all 4 seasons must add up to 100%. The normal operating schedule describes the typical operation times. In this example, the coating of metal parts occurs during normal business hours through the year. So the hours per day are 8, days per week are 5, and the weeks per year are 52. The hours per year are the result of multiplying the hours per day times days per week times weeks per year to yield 2,080 hours per year. The typical hours of operation in this example are normal business hours and so begin at 0800 and end at 1700. An existing evaporative process that is pre-printed on the form from prior years that has been retired can be removed from the report by using a single line strike-through of the listed evaporative process. On the evaporative process form, the evaporative process ID is a 3-digit unique ID number that is either pre-printed from prior years or is selected by the individual filling out the report if it is a new evaporative process. Each evaporative process ID can only be used for a single process, and the same ID must be used for the same evaporative process from year to year for consistency. The evaporative process ID number only needs to be unique relative to other evaporative process and general process ID numbers, and can be the same as ID numbers used in the stack, control device, and off-site recycling forms. The stack ID represents the stack associated with any stack that may be reported on the stack form associated with a given emission source. The material type is a specific description of the material down to the solvent type, product manufacturer, and material code. Enter the annual usage input quantity. List the units for the annual units in gallons or pounds. Enter the pollutant type as VOC, happen non, or NHX. Input the emissions factor and units in pounds per throughput units used to convert the throughput emissions units to pounds. Enter the pounds of pollutant sent off-site, which requires completion of the off-site disposal form to receive credit for reduced emissions. If a control device is used for a given evaporative process, record the capture efficiency percentage and enter the control device ID from the associated control device form. Enter the control device % control efficiency for captured emissions and enter the control efficiency code from the bottom of the evaporative process form. Field 15 is the estimated emissions calculated from the annual usage input, emissions factor, off-site recycling, and control device capture if applicable. In this example, there is no control device or off-site recycling, so these fields do not factor into the estimated emissions. In this example, process ID number 3 has a control device with a capture efficiency of 95%, control ID number 1, control efficiency of 80%, and control efficiency code of 3. Process ID 6 does not have a control device, but does have 569 pounds of pollutant sent off-site. Emissions without off-site recycling or disposal or controls for column 15 are equal to column 9 times column 11. Emissions with off-site recycling and disposal for column 15 are equal to column 9 times column 11 quantity minus column 12. Emissions with controls for column 15 are equal to column 9 times column 11 quantity times 1 minus columns 13 times column 14. Emissions with off-site recycling and disposal and controls for column 15 are equal to column 9 times column 11 quantity minus column 12 quantity times 1 minus column 13 times column 14. You must provide one off-site recycling disposal form for each waste stream at your business location. A waste stream is the waste from one or more processes mixed together to make one waste product before it is taken off-site for recycling, disposal, or combustion. Assign a unique two-digit number to identify the waste stream that will be described, i.e. ID number 1 for the first waste stream, etc. Enter the quantity of the waste and place a check mark indicating whether the units are pounds or gallons. Record the average pollutant content of the waste stream in the same units as used in line 2. Calculate the annual pollutant content of the waste stream by multiplying the volume of waste from line 2 by the pollutant content in line 3 and enter the result. List the ID numbers contributing to this waste stream. Also estimate the pounds of pollutant that each process contributed to this waste stream. The average pollutant content is calculated by first calculating individual waste stream annual emissions from the annual usage times the emissions factor. Then the total VOC emissions are summed and are divided by the sum of the annual usage to yield the average VOC content of all waste streams. This method can also be used to find the weighted average emissions factor for similar materials if you are reporting them together as a single line item on the evaporative process form. Thank you for viewing this emissions inventory report introductory training video number 5, and be sure to view the next training video number 6 in the sequence covering the data certification form. If you have any remaining questions, please call 602-506-6790 or email at emissionsinventory@maricopa.gov. General information and resources for the emissions inventory report can be found at maricopa.gov/2628. Additional information can be found through the internet links listed below this video on the YouTube webpage. Thank you for your participation.